The Vexthurian apex predator, the thing that had hunted 3 species to extinction, just backed away from the human maintenance worker, and High Commander Zilax couldn't explain why. "Replay that section again," Zilax commanded, his primary manipulators trembling slightly as they gripped the console edge. The holographic display flickered, rewinding the security footage from Corridor 12 Delta for the 7th time in as many minutes. Security Chief Kaeldra leaned forward, her amber eyes reflecting the glow of the screens. "Commander, with respect, watching it again won't change what happened. The human should be dead," Zilax interrupted, his voice carrying the sharp edge of someone whose entire understanding of xenobiology was crumbling in real time. According to YouTube analytics, 99.6% of viewers are not subscribed. That's a huge number. By subscribing the channel that is completely free, you'll help support the channel and never miss fresh content. That creature has a 97% kill rate. It hunts apex predators from other worlds for sport. We've documented it taking down a fully armored Korthian battlemaster in under 30 seconds. On the screen, the corridor footage played out its impossible sequence again. The Vexthurian, 12 feet of evolutionary perfection, armored carapace gleaming under the station's lighting, claws that could shear through reinforced durasteel, had cornered what should have been easy prey. Emma Johnson, maintenance engineer, holding nothing but a plasma wrench and wearing her standard-issue coveralls. The evacuation alarms still echoed through the station's command center, though most of Sector 7 had already been cleared. Most, but not all. "Emma Johnson to command," the human's voice crackled through the comms, startlingly casual given the circumstances. "Yeah, so I'm gonna need someone to fix the panel outside Storage Bay 7. Something big dented it pretty bad." Zilax stared at the comm panel like it had just spoken in an ancient dead language. "Engineer Johnson. How are you still transmitting?" "What do you mean?" "Oh, you mean the big lizard thing?" There was a sound that Zilax's translator struggled with before identifying it as human laughter. "Yeah, we had a moment. It's cool now." "It's cool," Kaeldra repeated slowly, her hand unconsciously moving to her sidearm as if the words themselves posed a threat. "Commander," one of the junior officers called from the sensor station, his voice pitched high with stress. "Sir, the Vexthurian's biosigns, it's outside Observation Room 4, not hunting, not in predator mode, it's waiting, sir." Zilax pulled up the biometric overlay on his display. The readings made no sense. The predator's hormone levels showed confusion, submission behaviors, and something his system flagged as respect. That couldn't be right. Vexithurians didn't respect anything except superior predators, and there were only 3 known species that qualified, none of which were human. "Get me Dr. Vexia from the Galactic Predator Institute," Zilax ordered. "Emergency priority, and someone get Engineer Johnson to a secure location." About that, sir," the communications officer spoke up nervously. "She refuses to leave, says she's on a deadline to finish the atmospheric processors in Section 9, and the Predator thing isn't her department." The command center fell silent except for the steady pulse of alert indicators. Somewhere in that silence, Zilax felt the universe tilt slightly off its axis. 20 minutes later, Dr. Vexia materialized in the command center via emergency quantum transport, her academic credentials holographically preceding her arrival like a shield. She was the galaxy's foremost expert on predator behavior, author of 16 standard texts, and holder of 3 prestigious research chairs. She watched the corridor footage once, just once. "Play me the audio analysis," she commanded, her scientific composure already showing hairline fractures. The technical officer complied, pulling up the waveform analysis of the encounter. 2 distinct roars appeared on the graph. The first, the Vexthurian's threat display, registering at 118 decibels and carrying all the harmonic frequencies proven to trigger instinctive terror in prey species. The second roar, Emma's, peaked at 127 decibels. That's... She outroared it, Kaldra whispered, by 9 decibels. It's not just volume, Dr. Vexia said, her academic training kicking in even as her worldview began its collapse. Look at the harmonic structure. She's matching the predator's threat frequencies and amplifying them. This is... She paused, pulling up comparative data from her personal database. This is what happens when 2 apex predators compete for territory. Except humans aren't apex predators. Their homeworld has multiple species that hunt them. They're persistence hunters, pack animals, tool users. They're not... Maybe we got the classification wrong, Zillax said quietly. Emma Johnson sat in Observation Room 4, drinking what his species called coffee from a thermal container, looking mildly annoyed. Through the reinforced transparent aluminum wall, the Vexithurian was visible, pacing in a slow circuit pattern that Dr. Vexia immediately identified as protective behavior. It's guarding her, the doctor said, disbelief coloring each word. The galaxy's most efficient killer is exhibiting protective behavior toward a human maintenance engineer. Zillax opened the comm channel. Engineer Johnson, this is High Commander Zillax. Can you explain what happened in that corridor? Emma looked up at the nearest camera, her expression suggesting she found this entire situation slightly ridiculous. You mean with the big scary thing? Sure. It came around the corner, did the whole intimidation display. You know, roaring, standing tall, showing off the murder claws. Pretty standard stuff. Standard, Zillax repeated flatly. Yeah, I mean, we had black bears in the mountains back home. Couple times had mountain lions sizing up the livestock. Same principle applies. You don't run, you don't back down, and you make yourself the bigger threat. She sipped her coffee. So I roared back, louder, stepped forward instead of back, made it clear I wasn't prey. Dr. Vexia was frantically pulling up data on human evolution. Commander, I need to speak with her directly. This could rewrite our entire understanding of predator-prey dynamics. 5 minutes later, Dr. Vexia sat across from Emma in the observation room, a portable holographic display between them showing various predator species and their behavioral patterns. The Vexithurian pressed against the exterior wall, its massive head tracking every movement. Your species evolved alongside multiple apex predators, Dr. Vexia began, trying to establish a baseline. Yet you survived. How? Emma shrugged. We're stubborn mostly, and smart. We learned to hunt the things that hunted us, turned wolves into dogs, domesticated basically every rideable animal we could find, put apex marine predators in shows for entertainment. She noticed the doctor's confused expression. We called them orcas, killer whales, could eat us in one bite. We taught them tricks. You're describing apex dominance behavior, Dr. Vexia said slowly. But humans lack the physical capabilities for... It's not about physical, Emma interrupted. It's about attitude, confidence. Every predator on Earth, every predator anywhere, I'm guessing, understands hierarchy. They understand when they've met something that won't be prey, something that might actually be dangerous to them. Kaldra, listening through the comm system, spoke up. You're saying you simply convinced it you were dangerous? I am dangerous, Emma said matter-of-factly. I'm an intelligent pack hunter from a species that conquered its entire planet, put members on other worlds, and built stations like this one. That thing? She gestured toward the Vexthurian. It's impressive, sure, lots of teeth and claws, but my species hunted mammoths to extinction with pointy sticks. We're not prey. We've never been prey. We're just usually too polite to make a big deal about it. The silence that followed was profound. I want to run a controlled test, Dr. Vexia said finally, her scientific curiosity overriding her sense of self-preservation. A re-encounter, monitored conditions, full biometric analysis. Doc, I've got atmospheric processors that need... Engineer Johnson, this is critical to our understanding of predator psychology across the galaxy. Emma sighed. Fine, but I'm charging overtime for this. The arena they used was typically reserved for studying megafauna mating behaviors. Reinforced walls, multiple observation points, full sensor coverage. Zilax had ordered every available xenobiologist on the station to witness this, along with the heads of security from 3 neighboring sectors. What was about to happen would either revolutionize their understanding of predator behavior or end very, very badly. They'd also brought in 3 other apex predators in containment fields, a Korthian battle beast, a Xylarian void stalker, and something from the outer reaches that didn't have a proper name, just a threat classification. All secured, all monitored, all there to observe. Emma walked into the center of the arena wearing her coveralls and carrying nothing. No weapons, no armor, no protection. She looked more annoyed than afraid. "Remember," Dr. Vexia's voice echoed from the observation booth, "the goal is to establish—" Yeah, dominance hierarchy, I got it," Emma called back. "Can we speed this up? I really do have actual work." The Vexthurian was released from the far entrance. It saw Emma immediately. Recognition flashed in those alien eyes. This was the not prey from before. The thing that had challenged it. The thing that had won. The predator approached slowly, cautiously, its body language screaming uncertainty. This wasn't how these encounters typically went. "It's confused," Dr. Vexia narrated for the recording. "Predators operate on instinct reinforced by experience. Its instincts say human equals prey. Its experience says this specific human equals threat. The cognitive dissonance is—" The Vexthurian made its decision. It rushed forward, a full threat display, every evolutionary advantage on display. Size, speed, natural weapons, intimidation factors honed over millions of years. Emma didn't move. The predator closed to within 10 feet, reared up to its full 12-foot height, and released a roar that rattled the observation windows. Every being watching felt their prey instincts scream at them to flee. Emma waited until it finished. Then she took a step forward, planted her feet, and roared back. It wasn't just volume, though the audio meters spiked into the red. It wasn't just the harmonic frequencies, though Emma somehow matched every threatening overtone. It was the complete and utter absence of fear. It was raw, primal, territorial aggression. It was the sound of something that refused to be prey, that rejected the very concept. It was the sound of an apex predator defending its territory. The Vexthurian's roar cut off mid-bellow. It actually stumbled backward, its massive body suddenly uncertain. Emma advanced. 1 step, 2 steps, maintaining unbroken eye contact, projecting absolute, unshakable confidence that she was the dominant predator in this space. The Vexthurian lowered its body, broke eye contact, released a sound that Dr. Vexia's instruments identified as a submission call. Then it backed into the corner and waited. "Impossible," someone whispered in the observation booth. Emma turned to face the other contained predators. The Korthian battle beast had pressed itself against the far wall of its containment field. The Xylarian void stalker had assumed a submissive posture. The outer reaches thing had quite literally turned around, presenting its back, the ultimate sign of non-aggression. Emma looked up at the observation booth. "We done here?" Because those processors won't fix themselves. The command center had transformed into something between a research symposium and an existential crisis support group. Dr. Vexia had filled 3 holographic displays with data, all of it pointing to the same impossible conclusion. "Humans aren't just apex predators," she explained to the assembled officers and scientists. "They're apex psychological predators. They don't need to be the strongest or the fastest. They convince everything else that they are. It's—" She struggled for words. "It's brilliant. Terrifying, but brilliant." "How is this possible?" Kaldra demanded. "They evolved alongside creatures that could kill them. Their natural defenses are minimal. They're not particularly fast or strong compared to true apex species." "Because they learned to hunt the hunters," Zilax said, finally understanding. He pulled up Earth's evolutionary history on his display. "Look at their development. They didn't outmuscle the apex predators. They outthought them, outlasted them, and eventually dominated them through sheer, persistent psychological warfare. They turned their predators into pets, into transportation, into entertainment. Emma's voice came through the comms again. "Hey, guys? Fluffy here looks hungry. Anyone know what these things eat?" The command center went silent. "Did she just call it Fluffy?" someone asked. "Engineer Johnson," Zilax said carefully. "The Vexthurian is a Class 10 extinction-level predator. You can't just... Look, it's been following me around for the past hour. It's clearly decided I'm in charge, which means I'm responsible for it. Responsible pet owners make sure their animals eat. So what does it eat?" Dr. Vexia pulled up the dietary information. Primarily carnivorous, it requires approximately 40 pounds of raw protein per feeding cycle, typically hunted live prey for optimal... Got it. I'll requisition some of that synthetic meat from the cafeteria, and someone should probably set up a feeding schedule. There was a pause. Also, it might need a bigger space. This observation room is kinda cramped for something his size. "His?" Kaldra repeated. "Well, yeah, I checked. Definitely a male." "Good boy, aren't you, Fluffy?" Through the security cameras, they watched Emma reach out and, impossibly, scratch the Vexthurian under what passed for its chin. The creature, which had killed its way through 3 intelligent species, leaned into the touch and made a sound that the translators struggled with before settling on contented rumble. "I need to sit down," Dr. Vexia said faintly. Over the next 3 hours, the station's entire predator containment and interaction protocols were rewritten. Zilax found himself authoring emergency bulletins to the Galactic Council about reclassifying humans. Dr. Vexia was already drafting a paper that would fundamentally alter xenobiology as a field. Emma, meanwhile, had returned to Section 9 with a plasma torch and her toolkit. Fluffy waited patiently outside the access corridor, having been politely but firmly told that his presence around high-energy plasma work was not safe for either of us, buddy. A junior technician, a nervous Xylarian named Janira, approached Emma cautiously. "Engineer Johnson? May I ask you something?" "Sure," Emma said, not looking up from the atmospheric processor she was recalibrating. "What's up?" "The creature? Fluffy. Why does it follow you? Our species has studied predator behavior for centuries, and this shouldn't be possible." Emma paused, setting down her tools. "You ever watch nature documentaries? Shows about lions, wolves, any pack hunters? Yes? There's always an alpha, top of the hierarchy, the one that leads, that makes decisions, that everyone else follows because they feel safe doing it. Predators understand that structure instinctively. It's hardwired." Emma picked up her plasma torch again. "Fluffy figured out I'm the alpha. Not because I'm bigger or meaner, but because I act like it. And predators respect that. It's the same reason ancient humans could approach wild wolves and eventually turn them into dogs. Same reason we ride horses, train falcons, swim with dolphins. We understand the language of dominance and submission, and we're really, really good at speaking it." "But you're a maintenance engineer," Janira said, "not a warrior or a hunter." Emma laughed. "Honey, every human is a hunter. We just don't hunt much anymore because we already won. We're at the top of the food chain on our entire planet. Doesn't mean we forgot how we got there." She activated the plasma torch, the blue flame casting sharp shadows. "Now, if you'll excuse me, this processor is operating at 63% efficiency, and that's just embarrassing." In the command center, Zilax watched the security feeds, his attention split between the human working and the apex predator waiting peacefully nearby. His communicator chimed with incoming messages. 17 different scientific institutions requesting interviews with Emma, 9 military branches wanting to understand human psychology better, and 3 entertainment networks wanting to do a documentary series. "Sir," Kaldra said, appearing at his side, "I've completed the analysis you requested. In the past galactic cycle, there have been 127 reported incidents of predators backing down from confrontations. We cross-referenced with species data. She paused. 43 of those incidents involved humans. We just didn't notice the pattern because humans are classified as non-threatening. Not anymore, Zilak said. He pulled up the new classification he'd been drafting. Humans, apex psychological predators. Approach with caution. Do not assume prey status. Capable of establishing dominance over physically superior species through psychological means. His communicator chimed again. This time it was Emma. Hey, Commander, quick question. Fluffy's been good all day, so I was thinking he deserves a treat. You guys have any of those big synthesized bones or something? Enrichment is important for apex predators. Zilax looked at Kaeldra. Kaeldra looked back at him. Neither spoke for a long moment. Engineer Johnson, Zilax said finally. The Vexithurian is capable of destroying reinforced bulkheads. It has hunted sentient species. It is not a pet. Right, but technically it's my responsibility now since I established dominance, so it's kind of a pet, an extremely dangerous pet that I need to take care of properly. Can't just leave him bored in a corridor. There was that human word again, responsibility. They'd established dominance, so now they were responsible. They'd won, so now they had to take care of what they'd won. It was such a human concept it made Zilax's head hurt. I'll have someone look into appropriate enrichment items, he said. Thanks. Oh, and about his living space, I'm thinking somewhere near the maintenance bays. That way I can check on him during shifts. Unless that's weird? Is that weird? At this point, Engineer Johnson, nothing about this situation qualifies as normal. Cool. Hey, does your species have anything like dog parks? Because Fluffy should probably get exercise. After Emma signed off, Kaeldra turned to Zilax. Commander, what have we learned today? Zilax thought about that. About a human maintenance engineer who'd faced down a creature that had hunted species to extinction and won through nothing but confidence and understanding. About a predator that now waited patiently outside maintenance corridors because a human had told it to. About Earth. That strange little world that had spawned a species of pack-hunting tool users who'd figured out how to psychologically dominate everything they encountered. We learned, he said slowly, that humans are apex predators who forgot they were apex predators because they won so completely they didn't need to remember. And that's somehow more terrifying than if they'd stayed actively predatory. Should we inform the Council? I already did. There's an emergency session scheduled. Zilax pulled up the last image from the arena, Emma standing calmly while an extinction-level predator submitted before her. The galaxy is going to have to recalibrate. In Section 9, Emma finished the last calibration on the atmospheric processor, wiped her hands on her coveralls, and checked her work schedule. 3 more systems to service, a staff meeting at 1600 hours, and she'd promised to help Janira understand the human concept of positive reinforcement training for working with difficult equipment. All right, Fluffy, she called toward the corridor. I'm done here. Want to walk me to the next job? The Vexthurian, the thing that had ended civilizations, trotted after her like an oversized, extremely lethal puppy. Emma scratched behind the ridge of armor plating on its head absently as they walked. You know what you need? She said conversationally. A proper name. Fluffy's funny, but you deserve something more dignified. How about Rex? King in Latin. That's a human language. You like that? The Vexithurian made its contented rumble sound. Rex it is. Come on, buddy. We've got cooling systems to fix. Behind them, the galaxy quietly rewrote its understanding of predators, prey, and the peculiar species from Earth that had somehow ended up at the top of a food chain that spanned worlds. And Emma Johnson, maintenance engineer, just kept working, because those atmospheric processors wouldn't fix themselves.